16 asks us to name the relationship complementary, linear pair, vertical, adjacent, alternate interior, corresponding, or alternate exterior. So let's first define what these different relationships are. So complementary means that we have two angles that do what? All right, a linear pair, they form a what? So they add to Alright, vertical angles are across the x from one another. They are what? Congruent. Alright, adjacent. They're next to each other. They share a side. So think about the adjacent apartment shares a wall. The adjacent classroom shares a wall. So we are adjacent to Mr. Davis's classroom. We share a wall with his classroom. All right, alternate interior. So we're talking about opposite sides. So alternate sides are opposite sides of the transversal. Inside the parallel lines. So an example of alternate interior would be here. Now, alternate interior, I want you to take a look at this. Think about how we label our parallel lines. Are alternate interior angles supplementary or congruent? Which one is it? So let's think about it. This one here is vertical angles with the top right. When we pull it down, we got top right, bottom left. So this angle corresponds to the vertical angle of this one. So they are congruent. All right, corresponding. Again, same relative location. So by same relative location, we mean if one's top right, the other one's top right. We got top right, or bottom left, bottom right, bottom right. Okay, and then lastly, on here we have alternate exterior. So again, opposite sides of the transversal outside the parallel lines. So we went outside the parallel lines, we went opposite sides of the transversal. So you tell me, are these supplementary or congruent? They're congruent. So look at the pattern here. When we have alternate interior or alternate exterior, they are congruent. Okay, now labeling. Number 16, what do we have here? What do angles A and B form? A line. So we have a linear pair. (17) Are they on the same side or opposite sides of the transversal? Opposite, so alternate, inside or outside the parallel lines?
Inside.
So it's alternate
Interior.
interior. Okay, what is number 18? Corresponding. We got bottom left, bottom left. All right, number 19 might be a little tricky. Do they form a line? No, they do not form a line. So it's not a what? Not a linear pair. So what does it have to be? Just adjacent. That's all we can say. Linear pairs are adjacent, but if we can say something more specific, we're going to say something more specific. Okay, number 20. Angles A and B are what? Vertical, because they are across the x. And we know that vertical angles are always congruent. Okay, number 21. Are they on the same side or different sides? Different sides. So alternate. Are they inside or outside the parallel lines? So alternate, exterior. All right, 22, they form what? They form a right angle, so they are complementary. 23, they form a line. So we got angle B is this much, and then we add an angle A, and they form this straight line over here. So they are a linear pair. Okay, the next section asks us to find the measure of angle B. So the first thing we've got to do is label the relationships that we have. So if I pull this down, I'm labeling. Remember, when we have parallel lines cut by a transversal, we end up with only two different angle measurements. Okay, so do B and 42 have the same mark or different marks? The same. So B is 42 degrees. They're corresponding angles in this picture. All right, we have to use all the information we have here. We're going all the way around to make a circle. So a circle is how many degrees? 360. So we've got B plus 51 plus 214 has to equal 360. So 51 plus 214 is 'So what do we have to do next? And that gives me B equals what? 95 degrees. B is 95 degrees. Okay, what kinds of angles do we have in problem 26? Vertical. And vertical angles are always congruent. So B is equal to 47 degrees. All right, they form a what? A right angle, so they are complementary. Very good. So we add them up to 90 degrees. So when we solve, we find out that B is how many degrees? 35. Okay, let's fix that.